There's a certain magic to a hot hatchback. It's a feeling that gets right under your skin. A proper hot hatch isn't just about speed, you see. It's about attitude. It's about taking a humble, everyday shopping car and stuffing it with a bigger engine, stiffer suspension, and a whole lot of mischief. It's the ultimate automotive underdog story. A practical, five-door family machine that can, on a twisty B-road, give a proper sports car a serious scare. This is the car for the person who has responsibilities but refuses to grow up completely. It's the perfect compromise, the one-car garage solution that promises a thrill every single time you pop to the shops for a pint of milk. The hot hatch democratized performance, bringing genuine driving pleasure to the masses. It all started in the 1970s, a decade of big hair, bigger trousers, and an oil crisis that had car manufacturers thinking small. But a few clever engineers over in Wolfsburg had a rather brilliant idea. What if they took their sensible new family car, the Golf, and gave it a bit of a kick? They raided the Audi parts bin, found a fuel-injected 1.6-litre engine and bolted it into the lightweight Golf chassis. They added some tartan seats, a golf ball gear knob, and a subtle red pinstripe around the grille. It was a simple recipe, but my word, it was effective. They had created a legend. The result was the 1976 Volkswagen Golf GTI. It was a revelation. It weighed next to nothing and had 110 horsepower, which was plenty back then. It was quick, it was nimble, and most importantly, it was an absolute riot to drive. It handled with a crispness that shamed cars costing twice as much. You could chuck it into a corner with complete confidence, feeling the front wheels bite and pull you through the apex. This wasn't just a car, it was a statement. The people's supercar had been born, and the roads would never be the same again. If the 70s lit the fuse, the 1980s was the explosion. This was the decade of excess, big shoulders, even bigger ambition. The hot hatch became the poster child for a new generation of young, aspirational drivers. It was the car to be seen in. And leading the charge, giving the Germans a serious run for their money, were the French. Peugeot, in particular, created what many still consider to be the finest hot hatch of all time, the 205 GTI. It was prettier than the Golf, lighter, a raw, untamed character that was utterly addictive, a car that communicated everything the road was doing directly to your fingertips. The 205 GTI, especially in its 1.9-litre form, was a masterclass in chassis tuning. Playful, adjustable, a little bit naughty, a tendency for lift-off oversteer that could catch out the unwary, but for those who knew how to handle it, pure magic. You could steer it on the throttle, dancing through corners on a knife edge of grip. Meanwhile, Ford was making waves with the Escort XR 3i Brasher, louder, with a working-class hero vibe. Big spoilers, cloverleaf alloy wheels. This was the golden age. Competition was fierce and the cars kept getting better. Renault gave us the bonkers 5 GT Turbo. Tiny car, massive turbocharger, delivering a savage, unpredictable kick of power. Famous for turbo lag. A moment of nothing, then a sudden, violent surge. Driving one quickly was a test of skill and bravery. Lancia joined with the Delta HF Integral. Started as a hatchback, evolved into four-wheel drive. A fire-breathing rally monster for the road. A homologation special bringing world-beating performance to the public. The 80s hot hatch was defined by character, flawed, challenging, and therefore brilliant. No electronic nannies, no traction control, no stability programs, just you, the engine, the chassis, and the road. They demanded respect but rewarded skill with an intoxicating level of engagement. Cars that made you feel alive, that made every journey an adventure. This wasn't just about getting from A to B. It was about how much fun you could have along the way. The hot hatch had cemented its place in our hearts. As the 90s dawned, a new force emerged from the east. Japanese manufacturers had been quietly honing their craft. They entered the hot hatch arena with a vengeance. They brought a different philosophy, raw, thuggish charm and high-revving precision engineering. And nobody did it better than Honda. In 1997, the EK9 Civic Type R was unleashed. It wasn't just a Civic with a bigger engine, a completely re-engineered performance machine. Stripped out, seam-welded for extra rigidity, fitted with a helical limited slip differential. The heart of the Type R was its engine, a masterpiece. The 1.6-litre B16B produced 182 horsepower, naturally aspirated. It was all down to Honda's legendary VTEC. Below about 6,000 RPM, it was a perfectly docile, everyday engine. Then, as the revs climbed, the VTEC system switched to a more aggressive cam profile. The engine note changed from a buzz to a hard-edged scream. The car surged forward with an intensity that was utterly addictive. You had to work the engine hard to get the best from it, thrashing it towards its 8,500 revolutions per minute redline. The reward was a driving experience of incredible purity and excitement. The Japanese onslaught didn't stop there. Mazda applied that fun-to-drive ethos to a practical hatch, Mazda Speed 3. It took brute force over high-revving NA. It packed a 2.3-litre turbo that sent huge torque through the front wheels. The car would squirm and writhe under hard acceleration as it fought for grip. It was a proper handful, and all the more fun for it. Ford, not to be outdone, looked to Japan for inspiration, specifically rallying. The first Ford Focus RS, launched in 2002, was a game-changer. It used a Quaife automatic torque biasing differential to manage its 212 horsepower, allowing it to find grip where other front-wheel drive cars would simply spin their wheels. A driving experience that was pure rally stage. The 90s and early 2000s proved the hot hatch was a global phenomenon. Each nation brought its own unique flavor to the recipe. Competition was fierce and the cars kept getting better. The era left us cars with character, flawed, challenging, intoxicating, and a culture that loved them. Cars that made you feel alive. The 2000s and 2010s saw the hot hatch grow up. The cars became faster, more powerful, significantly more sophisticated. This was the era of the horsepower wars. 200 horsepower wasn't enough anymore. Manufacturers chased ever bigger numbers. Ford fired a major shot with the second-generation Focus RS in 2009. It was a monster. A bright green, wide-arched beast with a 2.5-litre five-cylinder turbo, pumping out a massive 301 horsepower. Everyone said you couldn't put that through the front wheels. Ford proved them wrong, with its clever Revo-knuckle front suspension which helped tame the torque steer. As power climbed, technology followed. Four-wheel drive spread beyond rally specials. Volkswagen created the Golf R, a more mature, more powerful sibling to the GTI. With over 300 horsepower and all-wheel drive, these cars offered incredible all-weather performance. Less of a yob than the Focus RS, more of an understated super hatch. Premium brands noticed. Mercedes-AMG wanted in, a hand-built 2.0-litre turbo producing a frankly insane 355 horsepower. It had four-wheel drive, a dual-clutch gearbox and a price tag to match. The birth of the hyper hatch. Audi followed with the RS3, bringing back the glorious five-cylinder sound. The hyper hatch redefined what's possible. Luxury interiors, advanced infotainment systems, performance figures unthinkable a decade earlier. The latest Mercedes-AMG A45S now makes 416 horsepower, from just 4 cylinders, over 200 horsepower per litre. These cars could demolish a twisting road or sit comfortably on the motorway for hours. A stunning breadth of capability, everyday usability, mind-bending speed. The humble hot hatch had come of age, wearing a sharp suit and a very expensive watch. Hot hatches became proper performance cars, capable of embarrassing supercars. Just as we were getting used to 400 horsepower hyper hatches, the world changed again. The rumble of exhausts is slowly being replaced by the hum of electric motors. For a while, it felt like the age of the fun, engaging driver's car might be over. How could a silent, single-gear electric vehicle ever replicate the thrill of a high-revving VTEC or a warbling five-cylinder turbo? But car makers who love driving are run by people who love driving, and they have started to find a way. They've been testing, tuning, and translating performance into electric form. Leading the charge is Abarth. The Abarth 500e is small, punchy, and designed with fun as its top priority. The Italian tuning house that turned tiny Fiats into giant-slaying racers has now worked its magic on the electric Fiat 500e. They've tweaked the power delivery for instant response, stiffened the suspension, and even added a sound generator that mimics the sound of an old petrol Abarth. It might sound like a gimmick, but it adds a layer of character. It proves that electric cars don't have to be sensible, soulless appliances. Another exciting new entry comes from Spain. Cupra, once the performance arm of Seat, now its own standalone brand focused on style and electric performance. Their first fully electric hot hatch is the Cupra Born, based on the same platform as the Volkswagen ID. 3, but given a thorough Cupra makeover, it looks sharper, more aggressive. Its chassis has been tuned for a more dynamic rear drive feel. With an e-boost function delivering a temporary hit of extra power, it delivers the kind of instant, thrilling acceleration that only electric motors can provide. It's a glimpse into a future where driving fun is measured in kilowatts, not ccc. These electric hot hatches are rewriting the rule book. The instant torque from their electric motors provides a new kind of performance thrill. The acceleration from a standstill is immense, pinning you back in your seat in a way that even powerful petrol cars struggle to match. The low center of gravity, with the heavy battery pack mounted in the floor, gives them a planted, go-kart-like handling feel. They might lack the sound and the mechanical interaction of their petrol ancestors, but they offer a new, clean, and incredibly potent kind of fun. The hot hatch is adapting, evolving once again to survive and thrive in a new automotive landscape. These electric hot hatches are rewriting the rulebook. From a simple, brilliant idea in 1970s Germany to the silent, instant thrust of today's electric models, the hot hatchback has been on an incredible journey. For 5 decades, it has been the go-to choice for the enthusiast who needs one car to do it all. School run in the morning, trip to the supermarket in the afternoon, and then set your heart racing on a deserted country road on the weekend. It's a testament to a beautifully simple formula. Take the practical and make it thrilling. This enduring appeal is why the hot hatch has not just survived, but flourished through every automotive era. The cultural impact is undeniable. The hot hatch became a symbol of accessible performance, a badge of honor for those who knew a thing or two about cars. GTI worshipping yuppies of the 80s, modified civic culture of the 90s, hyper hatch owners of today. They are more than just transport. They are a hobby, an identity. They represent a kind of automotive savvy, a choice that says you value driving dynamics and clever engineering over simple badge snobbery or outright size. The legacy of the hot hatch is written on every twisty road and in every car park in the country. Looking back, it's the sheer variety that stands out. The raw analog feel of a Peugeot 205 GTI, the high-revving scream of a Honda Civic Type R, the brutish punch of a Ford Focus RS, the sophisticated pace of a Golf R, and now the silent instant surge of an Abarth 500e. Each era has produced its own icons, its own heroes, each one reflecting the technology and the culture of its time. The constant thread that ties them all together is that sense of fun, that mischievous character that makes you take the long way home. They are cars that beg to be driven, not just operated. So, what is the future of the people's supercar? As we stand on the cusp of an electric revolution, the hot hatch is proving its resilience once again. The spirit of the original GTI is alive and well in these new electric challengers. Still relatively compact, still practical, still focused on delivering a thrill behind the wheel. The power source may have changed, but the philosophy remains the same. The hot hatch is a survivor. The revolution will not be televised. It will be driven.